Hello, friends, and welcome to the Cold War Prepper. This is Lee. We're going on with number three, third part of the series on books that I think are essential for you to have in your post-SHTF or TEOTWAWKI library. And so today we're going to go through about 30 books that I think directly related to elements around prepping. And so I'm going to get into those very shortly. I'm also testing a brand new mic. So I know that a lot of you have been saying that with all my throat surgeries, my esophageal destruction and everything else by the surgeons, my voice didn't carry as well and you need it a little bit louder. So I've ordered microphones. This is the third microphone, and finally one that fits my MacBook. So keep your fingers crossed that this is going to work, and at the end I will hear myself fairly well. Okay, let's get into the books. So the first three are going to be these are going to be actual true life stories from people who have lived in an SHTF TEOTWAWKI environment. So the first four. First two are going to be from Selko Begovic, and he survived the Bosnian conflict. So the first one is going to be 1 Year in Hell, the true SHTF story of wartime in Bosnia. The second one is going to be the dark secrets of SHTF survival. The next two are going to be from Fernando Firfal Aguirre, who has survived the economic collapse, the financial collapse in Argentina. And his two books are going to be Surviving the Economic Collapse and Street Survival Skills. Number 5 and 6 are going to be planning a group. How do you get a group of people together to survive this? Remember, we're all in this together, so we can come out together. So how do you get that togetherness? So book number 5 is the Survival Group Handbook by Charlie Hogwood. I mentioned that on day 1. Number 6 is The Prepper's Blueprint by Tess Pennington. Absolute essential book. It has all kinds of fantastic, phenomenal checklists and planning guides. I strongly recommend it. Number 7 is How to Survive the End of the World as We Know It by James Wesley Rawls. He's also going to have another book and that I'm going to recommend as Tools for Survival. He has a fantastic website, and that's survivalblog.com. survival blog.com. He gives away stuff on a daily basis. I mean, he has such a big website and following that vendors just give him stuff to give away just so they can be advertised on his site. Number 9 is going to be Nuclear War Survival Skills by Chesson Kearney. Number 10 is the LDS Preparedness Guide. I'll leave a link down for it below. They've been doing it for a long time. They probably have this better thought out than most people have. Number 11 is going to be Handbook of Practical Disaster Preparedness for the Whole Family. This is by Arthur T. Bradley, PhD. Remember, I mentioned him on Monday, I believe it was. Maybe it was yesterday, but it was one of the other sets of books where we were talking about the Survivalist series, and I recommended the Survivalist series by A. American, and said that I don't care for Dr. Bradley's books that much because they deal with zombie-type people, morphed people, and so he has a lot of good tips in them that are really worth reading. But of the two, if I was only going to get one set of books, I would get A. American's books instead of Dr. Bradley's books. But he is the expert on EMP in the U.S. He has a YouTube channel as well. So look for Dr. Bradley, Arthur T. Bradley, PhD. Number 12, this is going to be all around food storage. So we're starting into the food storage type of a thing. Food Storage for Self-Sufficiency and Survival by Angela Paskett. And then Emergency Food Storage and Survival Handbook by Peggy Layton. I told you in the first set of books that the Boy Scout Field Manual was probably one of the best overall sets of books, or book on bushcraft and survival that there is. Along with that, there was a book series that came out while I was in basic Indonesian at DLI in Monterey, California, 1971-ish. Might have been very early 72, but I mean it was only $4.95 then. But as a PFC, I was making $123.50 a month, so $4.95 was a significant amount of my income. But I bought the first of the Foxfire books, and I've got every Foxfire book since. So the Foxfire series by Elliot Wigginton has got to be in your library. Basic Butchering of Livestock and Game by John Metler, Jr., veterinary doctor. Number 15, the Total Fishing Manual, How to Catch Big Fish by Field and String. Now we're going to get into cooking. So we've gone through how to plan, how to store food, how to catch food, how to butcher food. Now we're going to go into cooking itself. And so Bread Baking for Beginners by Bonnie O'Hara. Clara's Kitchen. Let me tell you, this is a fantastic website or YouTube channel. So it's Depression Era Cooking with Clara. She was in her 90s and just recently passed away, but I also showed her book on a previous video. But she has a Depression Era cookbook on how they survived on minimal food. So I consider her cookbook an essential, and that's Clara's Kitchen: Wisdom, Memories, and Recipes from the Great Depression by Clara Chanukiati. Number 19, the complete book. Now we're going to get into first aid, medicine, treatment of things. So it's going to be the complete book of essential oils and aromatherapy by Valerie Ann Warwood. I firmly believe that we can use homeopathic means as a substitute for probably 60 to 66% of the prescribed medications that are out there. Now, prescription medications have their place. Don't get me wrong. I love them. I use them daily. But I also believe that in a post-SHTF, post-TEOTWAWKI environment, we are going to need some homeopathic remedies. So I'm going to start here with the complete book of essential oils and aromatherapy, Valerie Ann Warwood. Number 20, Miracles from the Vault, an anthology of underground cures by the Health Sciences Institute. And number 21, Prescription for Herbal Healing. And that's by Phyllis A. Batch, CNC. Now let's get into first aid. So number 22, First Aid Manual by the American College of Emergency Physicians. Number 23, The Survival Medicine Handbook by Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy. Of course, his name is Joseph Alton, MD, and Amy Alton, ARNP. They have a wonderful YouTube channel as well that I strongly recommend, and that's, I believe, Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the comments down below or in the introduction. Of course, they have a series of books, and they're just, all of them are phenomenal. Number 24, Alton's Pandemic Guide by Joseph Alton and Amy Alton. Number 25, Alton's Antibiotic and Infectious Diseases. And of course, the same Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy. Number 26, the U.S. Armed Forces Nuclear, Biological, and Chemical Survival Manual by Dick Couch, Captain, U.S. Navy Reserve. Number 27, the SAS Survival Handbook by John Lofty Weissman. Number 28, the Ultimate Guide to U.S. Army Survival Skills, Tactics, and Techniques by the Department of the Army. Now we're going to get into gardening. So the last three here are going to be gardening. Number 29, this is the one that I started with. This was my very first gardening book. And it's Square Foot Gardening by Mel Bartholomew. I still swear by it. Number 30, Week by Week Vegetable Gardener's Handbook by Kujoski and Kujoski. It's a husband and wife team. Number 31, another fantastic YouTube channel, and I subscribe to it, and I have it clicked so that I get anything that he puts out new. That's Urban Gardening by Kevin Espiritu. His YouTube channel is Epic Gardening with Kevin Espiritu, and just does a fantastic job. I also recommend that you go online and get the U.S. Army Field Manual on field hygiene and sanitation. It's going to teach you how to, in the event of the collapse of our sewage systems, how to dispose of waste, whether that be normal waste, whether it be human bodily waste, bodies, and everything else. Wonderful manual. You must have it in your overall kit. So some of the others that I'm going to add to this, it's going to take us up to 35 or 36. I didn't mention this. It should be one of your basic philosophy books. This is Rene Descartes. It's not that thick. This is Meditations on the First Philosophy. So the first philosophy is his question of, is there a God? And he comes up with his philosophical discussion on why there is a God. going way back to my first times in prepping. So I found some of my old brochures. I don't know if these are available anymore. I mean, these probably went out of print in the early 70s. But anyhow, food storage for survival. I mean, this is only 12 pages. 15 pages. So this is a very small, this is what we had to go with when I started back a long time ago. Then in 1974, the second time I was at Monterey, we got Defending Your Retreat. And then, of course, the early 70s copy of Protection in the Nuclear Age. So that kind of wraps up everything I've got as far as the books concerning survival. Of course, Dave Canterbury's Bushcraft 101. There are a lot of other books that I could have thrown in here, and I probably may at some point in the future give them plugs as well. But just wanted to give you a basic list of things you need to get now so that you're prepared. So do me a favor, let me know how the new mic's doing, and if you have additional books that you want to recommend, down in the comments below. Thanks, y'all. Take care. Remember, we're all in this together so we can come out of it together. Bye-bye.